Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder and Merlot.
We are a true crime book club podcast.
I'm your host, Tara.
And I'm your host, Michelle.
We are putting down our books and picking up the paper.
Because this is the morning news.
A very hot and sweaty morning news because we are
Very
dying.
hot.
We are
Very
dying.
hot.
Yes.
I'm actually not recording in the closet today. I moved downstairs, so I might have a bit of an echo. I'm sorry, but I might die upstairs.
Because it's what, 20, 27, 28 degrees up there?
Yeah, with my air conditioner running. Like it's not okay.
No, it sure isn't. So
there would just be like a puddle of Michelle at the end of the recording, and I don't really want to do that. So
exactly. And then I would have to take over and like do your part, and I just don't have the energy to do both of our parts. So you have to be here for that.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, talking to yourself is not that much fun.
No. I feel like I practice it a lot, but nobody else hears that. I don't need to record
nobody
it
should
and release it to the world, because then people would be concerned. They would probably, report it to somebody to be like, can you get a welfare check on her?
Let's check on Tara. She's good. She's losing it.
Yeah. So we don't need to go there. So we'll avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, we have some true crime news updates because lots of stuff are happening in the true crime world.
Oh, yes.
And two really big updates, I feel. So I'll start us off. So back in April, we mentioned Derek Chauvin's conviction of manslaughter, second-degree murder, and third-degree murder. And now he has received his sentencing. Chauvin, who is, of course, the police officer that killed George Floyd a year ago, was sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison on Friday, June 25th. Judge Peter A. Cahill said the length of the sentence, which exceeded the state's sentencing guidelines that recommend 12 and a half years, owed to Chauvin's, quote, abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd, end quote. Cahill also said Chauvin, quote, treated Mr. Floyd without respect and denied him the dignity owed to all human beings, end quote. The three other now former officers that were also on the scene were all charged with aiding and abetting second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. They are scheduled to be tried next year and have all pleaded not guilty.
That's huge. That
it is.
He's been charged, that he's had a decent sentence. I don't think any time is long enough. It's a hard one because it's so public and
absolutely
whatever, but I don't think George Floyd's family thinks 22 years is going to be long enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. I don't think any amount of time would have been, will make anybody happy just because of the situation. Like, it's a horrible situation. There isn't really anything you can do for true justice, but it's a step in the right direction. I'm glad it exceeded the state's regular sentencing guidelines, so that's great. But
totally,
obviously, it never feels like it's long enough.
No, the judge, however, is a total badass.
Yeah,
he's awesome. But I do think it's great in the fact that it's setting a precedent for police brutality, violence, whatever, to actually have sentences handed down and to be served.
Absolutely.
Because lots of times they're just dealt with by internal affairs and
swept
nothing's
under the
really
rug.
said about it. So
absolutely,
I think it's fantastic to set that precedent.
Yep, I would agree.
And our other update, which I'm sure everybody has heard, but as discussed in our previous morning news, the remains of 215 children were discovered near the site of the Kamloops residential school. And that discovery has led to the search for more burial sites around Canada where other residential schools had once operated. Not surprisingly, there have been more discoveries. And it just breaks my friggin' heart, man.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
According to the 2021 Canadian Indian Residential Schools gravesite discoveries page on Wikipedia, on June 4th, 2021, in Brandon, Manitoba, 104 potential graves were located, 78 of which were accountable through historical records. On June 23rd, hundreds of unmarked graves were found, the most in Canada to date, near the former site of the Maryville Indian Residential School in Maryville, Saskatchewan, on the lands of Cowessess First Nation. The total number of graves was announced at 751 in a press conference the next day. over 3 times as many as the 215 discovered in Kamloops the previous month. The bodies were not in a mass grave. Rather, headstones had been removed by members of the Catholic Church in the 1960s, which that's next level. It's not okay.
No, it's very much so like, we're just gonna take these away and cover this up.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a mass grave. It was just unmarked graves. In 2018, 38 unmarked graves were found near the Muskokawikan Indian Residential School, located northeast of Regina. And other counts that we've come across on social media included 35 found near Lestock, Saskatchewan, and 180 near Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which brings the current total to 1,323 discovered residential school graves. And we should mention that not all of these graves belong to children, but it seems as though the majority do. That number is likely to continue and to rise as more investigations are taking place. And it could be a very long, depressing summer, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think it's just going to be constant updates with more and more discoveries, which is great, obviously, in a sense that they're being discovered and there's attention being brought to it. It's just so incredibly heartbreaking to hear those numbers.
Totally. However, I'm really happy that it's making people talk. My husband and I just had a conversation about it tonight, even like just an honest conversation about what we were taught and perceived and what actually happens. And just, this is just even in modern day Indigenous communities, right? So it was, it's making conversations happen. And not that I'm happy that there's these horrible things happen to these children and to these families, but I'm happy that our society now can dig deeper and have these conversations and learn more and do better.
And I think, especially over the last year, everybody has been kind of trying to work towards educating themselves on these types of topics. So I guess perhaps it's good timing that, you know, people are ready to take all this information in, have conversations about it, and actually make a difference, rather than maybe if it happened years in the past, it would have been like, oh, well, yeah, that sucks. But, you know, again, it happened a while ago, so we don't really need to deal with it. But whereas now people, I feel like, are wanting to make more of a change in the world going forward. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the information
that made sense. I feel like.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And the information is more accessible now, too. So if these discoveries had been made 20 years ago, we still wouldn't know about them. Right? But because of our good friend, the internets.
Yes.
And social media, we know now.
And we get to hear stories directly from the people that it has affected. Incredible and moving.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, friends. Let's change it up a little bit because that's getting depressing. Let's grab your glass and get cozy. Let's talk about murder. Tink.
All right. So yeah, we kind of started off on a downer, but I think as far as I'm aware, the rest of the episode, it's going to be a little bit wild. At least my parts. My parts.
Mine is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this should be good. I'm quite excited about my article here. So I'm going first, obviously. My article title is Throat Slit, Man Impaled, 48 Charged After Redneck Rave in Kentucky.
Oh my God. What?
Like, I will be the first to say, what in tarnations?
I love it.
What is going on here? It's insane. Let me tell you about it. I love it. First off, I got this article from Global News, and the author is Josh K. Elliott. So the article starts off with, quote, organizers of a so-called Redneck Rave promised a days-long event of mud, music, and mayhem. And they certainly delivered on the mayhem after 48 people were charged at the drug-fueled, fight-filled festival in Kentucky, end quote.
Wow. Okay. I'm here for it.
Yeah, should be. Tens of thousands of people attended the 5-day Redneck Rave Festival in the small town of Mammoth Cave in Kentucky in mid-June of 2021. Here is a quick summary of the events that took place. Like previously mentioned, one man had his throat slit. One man was impaled by a log that burst through the bottom of his vehicle. A woman was choked during a fight over a blanket. And there were multiple others who suffered severed fingers, broken bones, dislocated joints, and severe lacerations. How's that for a lineup?
I would hate to be the ER staff working in Kentucky that night.
Right? I was thinking about that.
Week.
Just the entire week. I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they go into it like they have to be in a mindset.
Right?
For sure. Like you got to pump yourself up for that.
Have you seen that episode of Grey's Anatomy?
Yes.
Where they have the chainsaw festival.
And that's exactly what I was thinking.
It's chainsaw pumpkin carving festival day, right? And they just know that they're going to be overrun, and
yes,
they just lean into it.
A bit of excitement there because they know they're going to see some crazy shit, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, what are we going to have to deal with?
Exactly.
I love that you brought that up because I was absolutely thinking of Grey's while writing this article.
Love it.
All right, so where do we even start here? Well, the Edmonds County Sheriff's Office had expected things would get a little bit out of hand as it has in previous years, but I think they got a little bit more than what they bargained for. The very first vehicle that came through, they found meth, marijuana, and open alcohol. Also, one of the occupants had 2 active warrants, so that pretty much set the tone for the weekend.
Yep, that'll get you.
They're like, here we go. From there, one man slashed his friend's throat during an altercation and then fled into a nearby park. Sheriff Doyle has said that no suspect has been identified for this.
Oh, good.
And that's literally all we know about this incident, is that there was a fight between some friends. That's how it ended up, and the guy just took off.
Good.
How unsettling for so many reasons. Like, first of all, that was your friend. That is his reaction to getting into a fight, and that he's like on the loose.
Yeah, there's so much bad.
I don't like that. I don't like it. In a separate incident, a man allegedly strangled a woman until she passed out during a fight over a blanket. Missouri resident Lancer Hodges, 29, is charged with strangulation, wanton endangerment, and 4th-degree domestic violent assault in connection with the incident.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The victim, who told police she couldn't breathe and blacked out during the ordeal, was left with scratches on her neck and fingerprints behind her ears. Hodges, of course, denies choking the woman.
Naturally.
Of course. This next one. Hold on to your butts because it will definitely make you squirm in your seat.
Okay.
I sure did.
That is holding. All right.
We are on hold. Sheriff Doyle says that a man was impaled by a thin log after trying to drive over it with a vehicle. The log pierced the floorboards of the vehicle and plunged into his abdomen. Quote, when it tried to come out through his back, it was stopped by a steel plate behind his seat. End quote.
Again, this is one of those times where I think you guys should have seen my face.
It was very similar to the face that I made when I originally read this article, which I did take a picture of and sent to Michelle.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the same face. Yeah.
Yep, that was the part, and that was the same face. Yep.
Wow.
And that just like freaks me out that is even possible. I've never considered that.
Not happen.
So now I'm just freaked right out. It like feels like the Final Destination kind of vibes with the log coming through the windshield, but coming through the floorboard, like it's coming from every direction. It's terrifying.
It's not okay.
I don't like it. And Doyle added that paramedics had to leave the log in place while they airlifted the man to the hospital. So yeah. Obviously.
Did you read if he made it?
Yeah, I'll get there. It's okay. I'll get there.
Okay.
I have the summary at the bottom.
Okay.
Obviously, there were countless other injuries that come with the territory of drunken stupidity. Every time an ambulance was dispatched, they sent a deputy in with them as well because they knew just shit was going down, which is totally fair. And although there were multiple lost digits during this fiasco, there were fortunately no lost lives. So,
Perfect.
don't know how, but everybody survived. So,
Throat slit guy survived.
yep.
Log through the car guy. That's amazing.
Yep. Strangled woman survived. So I'm happy about that.
Well done, Kentucky ER staff, man.
Yes, absolutely. Not well done to this guy. He seems like a dirtbag. Organizer Justin Time Stowers. Time appears to be, like that's his nickname, Justin Time.
Lame.
He said the rave was the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life. He added that there were some areas that they could improve on for the next time, but overall, he feels as though they handled the, quote, random things that popped up very well.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I think, yeah, like you said, the EMTs or whatever, they're the ones that handle things very well. They're the ones that were like, okay, now this is our problem. We got to deal with this. I don't think you had much to deal with that aspect. You were the one that created this whole situation that let it happen in the first place.
Yeah. But so what's great to me is this is like a big ass public gathering, and it's like just happening like normal.
I know. It also blew my mind.
That's amazing. Like this.
Yeah. It's hard to comprehend.
Actually feels like there's an end in sight, maybe.
Maybe. I literally checked the date on the article twice to make sure that this was actually current, and it did actually happen just a few weeks ago or whenever it was. Yeah, a week or two ago. Because I was like, what? Like tens of thousands of people? That doesn't seem right. That's not a thing that's happening.
That's crazy. I was actually thinking how eerie it is. Like the other night, I had to take my best friend to the hospital, and it wound up being like really late when I took her home, and it was like 2:00 in the morning. And so like 2:00 in the morning is when last call is or was.
Yes.
And so 2:00 is usually when like people would be spilling out of the bars, and there's like not a soul out. And I was like, this is freaky. Like,
that is actually funny that you mentioned that, because I also was I had to drive late last night, and I was driving around our town, and I swear to God, I was the only vehicle, and it was like 1:30, and I'm like, okay, like it's Saturday night,
I know.
Usually there's more, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna get like reported or pulled over just for being suspicious for driving around, because there's literally nobody else.
I totally felt the same way, because mine was Friday night, and I was like, well, Friday night was always fight night at the bar, like.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm old now, so I don't go to the bar, so like.
Still, it's weird. It's still, even after like over a year, it's still such an eerie feeling.
Yeah. And especially because the only other vehicle I saw like while I was in town was a police car.
Same here. Yep.
And I was like, please don't pull me over.
I know. I was like, I'm tired. Please, I want to go home.
I mean, I'm just doing a good deed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, hopefully soon, at least it feels as though things are going to be opening up soon. I hope that happens.
Yeah, I hope so.
Everything is great and everybody's safe, and
maybe
life will be good.
Maybe the next Redneck Rave party will be a little less wild.
Maybe. I don't know. Is BVJ happening this year? Because that's our Redneck Rave festival that happens.
True. I haven't heard that it is.
I haven't either, but
I mean, Stampede's happening though, so.
Yep. Well, yeah. They can't not do it 2 years in a row. That would be
terrible.
Yeah, so Stampede opens up, the rest of Alberta has to open up because, yeah, I guess that's how it works.
I guess so.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Put on your cowboy hats, folks.
Dang, a lot of people have not interacted with other people in over a year. It's going to be
messy. It's going to be this.
That's so true. Maybe that's why this was so bad, is because people just lost their minds and forgot how to human.
Oh my God. If there's a wreck like this, at the Calgary Stampede, we are having a special morning news dedicated just to that.
Yes. And if you were there to witness anything, write it in. Let us know your
That's
crazy
amazing.
stories after, just in general, after the world opens up and if crazy things happen because of that.
Yeah.
Let us know.
We just want to know.
I do. I want to know. I think it's fascinating.
Me too.
All right.
Oh man.
Well, that was
Love
my
it.
story. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
I did. Well, this one's kind of a wild ride too.
Okay.
And
Buckled in.
this story, so you guys know, Des does not like true crime. He doesn't like anything. I was looking for an article and I was like, oh, John McAfee died. And Des is driving. He's like, oh my God, you have to do that. Like, do that article. And I was like,
whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, yes, dear. Do you know who John McAfee is?
No, honestly.
I'm sure you've heard of his antivirus software, though.
Oh.
McAfee, right?
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Things are connecting. And I'm just
right?
I don't know. McAfee, I don't know.
He's an eccentric billionaire and wild. Anyways,
all right, good. Okay.
I will fill you in.
Sounds good. I'm here to learn.
And I have a video for you to watch to do homework about him afterwards.
Great. I look forward to that.
So the article is titled The Wild Life and Mysterious Death of Tech Guru John McAfee. The author is Brad Hunter, and my source is the Toronto Sun. This one gave the best description of his life and what he is like. I've read a lot about his actual death, and it's interesting. But
okay.
Yeah, this is the one that, because I know the Toronto Sun probably isn't like the most credible of sources, but
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it actually covers things quite well. So,
good. Okay.
The 75-year-old computer genius, a pioneer in the antivirus software, like I said, was found dead in his Spanish jail cell, apparently a suicide, on Wednesday. Till the end, he remained an enigma. Quote, jealousy, greed, fear, we're all full of these things, but also love and compassion. If you saw a drowning baby, it wouldn't matter if you were wearing a tuxedo on the way to your own wedding. You'd jump in to save him, end quote, McAfee once said. So that kind of gives you a picture of him to start with. Yet within minutes of the announcement of his demise, the rumor mill hit full tilt. Was he murdered? The British-born McAfee would no doubt be nodding in approval, reveling in the tawdry tales of sex, drugs, and government plots and murder. He first came to prominence in 1987 with the launch of his antivirus software. By 2007, he was worth more than $100 million, and it was at that time his story gets interesting. McAfee had long lived in the Central American nation of Belize, where he found respite from the U.S. taxes he abhorred and could enjoy the harem of lovelies he had surrounded himself with. It was there it all fell apart. At one point, McAfee had 7 women living with him. He proudly posted their photos on his blog and called them the girls, whom he found through a friend. He called it a, quote, social engineering project, end quote.
Of course.
Oh, naturally, right? His favorite, he told followers, was Sam, who could play any part and was the peacemaker of the group. Educations and looks topped his list of priorities. Fun was engaging in dope-fueled sex games at the same time as he chewed on a variety of drugs and bizarre conspiracy theories. He wrote it on his blog, quote, I thought I would do a brief introduction to the girls who, by and large, lived with me full-time. Without the assistance of these girls, it would have taken years to prime the socially engineered system that I put in place in Belize, end quote. Like, he's nuts, man.
Yeah. I mean, my brain is going, cult? Is this a cult? Because it could be a cult.
I don't think it's a cult, but it's
teetering on the edge. You know?
It's very much teteering on the edge.
You could pick it apart a little bit and be like, yeah. You could say that.
Yeah. I feel like he's like the nerdy Hugh Hefner in Belize, right? Like that's
totally
what I picture.
Yeah,
right?
No, I had that image as well, but then my mind always just goes But cults, though.
But cults, right?
But cults.
However, in November 2012, he was named by the cops there as a person of interest in the murder of an American expat, Gregory Viant Fall, McAfee's neighbor. Apparently, it had something to do with McAfee's barking dogs. And so, trigger warning, this has to do with doggy death. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
4 of the canines were found dead in the days leading up to Fall's death. Fall himself was deceased in his home with a bullet parked in his skull on November 11th, 2012. McAfee then went on the run. Next stop, Guatemala. In an interview with the tech culture mag, Wired, the paranoia that came to define him was on full display. He was terrified the cops would kill him. Belize Prime Minister Dean Barrow called the multimillionaire extremely paranoid, even bonkers. An attempt at political asylum in Guatemala was torpedoed. He was deported back to the US in 2018, where he found himself facing a wrongful death suit launched by Fall's family, and while it wasn't the end, you could see it from there. Last October, he was busted in Spain on an American tax evasion beef. Now McAfee faced extradition within days. Authorities say he hanged himself. His lawyer told Reuters on Thursday he didn't see it coming. But as if relishing laying the seeds for one final conspiracy, last year McAfee cryptically offered this. He tweeted from jail, quote, "All is well. Know that if I hang myself, a la Epstein, it will be no fault of mine," end quote.
Oh, shit.
Right? Sex monster Jeffrey Epstein hanged himself in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial. So they say.
Allegedly.
Many remain unconvinced that the financier topped himself. The McAfee conspiracies are just getting started. So that's the end of that article. But he had so many tax evasion charges in the United States. Like, he's just like,
oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I have money. I don't need to pay taxes.
Right?
Why would I pay taxes?
Because, yeah, that's just not how
Right?
it works for me, the billionaire. Screw you.
Right? But he'd also been married 3 times. He has claimed to have 47 genetic children.
Ew. Sorry.
I know.
Really gross, because I'm just picturing this gross old man with so
100%.
many women and children. And yeah, it's too much.
Yep, I know. Yep. And you're going to love this part. Both in 2016 and 2020, he made a run for the president of the United States for the Libertarian Party.
Of course he did. Because why not? Why wouldn't
I mean, they already had a president that didn't pay his taxes, so why not this guy?
Yep. And he's already got a big voting population, which is his family that he has produced.
Right? And his cult of ladies.
It's true. Makes sense.
McAfee's wife, Janice, who he met the night after he was deported from Guatemala when she solicited him for sex, as she was a sex worker at the time, and she was 30 years his junior. They started a relationship right after that and got married in 2013. She maintains that he was not suicidal and that he was worried that he was going to be killed by the government while he was incarcerated. And earlier today, apparently, an unknown source claimed that a suicide note was found on his person. Fishy? Maybe.
What did it say? I want to know.
It did not.
Of course.
It did not say what
Of course it didn't, but I want to know.
So is this fishy? Could be. Or did he just want to go out on one last bang to keep people talking about him?
Maybe. Because we're talking about him, and I didn't know who it was, but I probably should have.
Oh my God. So the video I'm going to tell you about, Des has shown this to me like years ago. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's insane. And it's like this old guy that's like talking about his antivirus software, and it's like how to uninstall it. And he's like surrounded by women, and they're like stripping him, and he's like doing coke through a twisty straw, and like,
oh my God,
it's insane. And he's like, it's insane. And I was like, this isn't real. Like, what? Okay, whatever. And Des is like, no, this is John McAfee. He's an eccentric millionaire, and he's like tired of people messaging him and emailing him being like, how do you uninstall McAfee from my computer? Because it's fucking terrible. And so he made this video that he's like, I don't give a fuck. I have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Right.
It's insane. So go to YouTube, watch the video, how to uninstall McAfee antivirus. John McAfee is the old guy in the video. And like, it's something else.
Wow.
But full like language warning. Don't watch it in front of your kids.
Wow. Who would have thought homework from Murder and Merlot would include how to uninstall some antivirus software?
Right? So if you're struggling to get McAfee off your computer, I don't think the video is going to help you actually, but
shucks.
You'll get an education in something else.
2 birds with 1 stone. You can learn about that, but also learn about him at the same time, and it's a win-win, but maybe not so educational.
No. And when I first started reading about like he was hung himself, whatever, and I was like, oh, it sounds like Epstein. And Jez is like,
absolutely,
sure does.
It was like the moment you started talking, I'm like, ding, ding, ding. I've heard this story before.
Right?
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It's I've never seen Des so excited for me to talk about a story.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah. So does that mean like you're gonna listen or probably not?
I don't know. I was like, you should come on the show and just talk about him. He's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Like, don't be ridiculous. I would never.
He helped me find the video.
Nice.
Like he told me all about it before I could read about it. Like,
perfect. Thank you, Jez, for some insight that we did not have.
He's in the tech world, so he like knows all this stuff. But man, wild.
When 2 worlds collide, his tech world and your murder world just came together so beautifully.
I know, it was perfect.
I love it. All right. Well, I have a bizarre article, but I like our main articles here have not been too bad, so that's good. Let me see. I got to pull it up here. Hold on. I have only 20,000 tabs open on my computer right now.
Hey, man, same.
Now this is just a horrible crime. Just prepare yourselves.
Okay.
California man arrested for allegedly stealing 21 tons of pistachios.
What?
I know.
21 tons?
21 tons.
That's a lot of nuts.
It's 42,000 pounds of pistachios. So, I gave you a fair warning. This is going to give you nightmares because how could anybody do such a thing?
Is that many nuts?
This guy, I will tell you about him. I mean, it doesn't really say why he did it, but I guess, well, in a way it does. We'll get there.
Okay.
The Touchstone Pistachio Company in California began an investigation after realizing 42,000 pounds of pistachios were missing. And the article is from people.com. It's written by Vanessa. Her name is interesting. I feel like I could say it 10 different ways, so I'm going to go with Itini. That was not it, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, yep.
And she starts off her article with, well, this is nuts. I would have to agree.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, that line was a given. I don't know if you get points for that, but I'll include it. So let's see here. Yes, like I said, the Pistachio Company in San Joaquin Valley, California, noticed that 42,000 pounds of pistachios were missing during a routine audit for the month of June. After contacting authorities, the missing nuts prompted an investigation beginning on Thursday.
God, I hate it when your nuts go missing.
I know. I'm constantly losing my nuts, but not this many. This is too much. The Tulare County Sheriff's Office revealed that the investigation uncovered a tractor trailer containing the pistachios had been moved from a lot for a family-owned company, Montemayor Trucking, in the city of Delano to another lot close by. According to a statement, the pistachios were being repackaged from their original 2,000-pound sacks into smaller bags for resale. Sheriff deputies then arrested 34-year-old Alberto Montemayor of Montemayor Trucking after reviewing surveillance footage. The Pistachio Company had hired this trucking company earlier this year as a contractor. So that's who did it.
Okay.
So yeah, basically he
Didn't know that there was like such a lucrative business in pistachios.
Apparently it is, because they said, so there's a whole agricultural crimes unit in this area, and they have seen many cases of stolen nuts, and it's often in California rural areas where farming contributes heavily to the local economy. Although this one was a pretty hefty amount stolen, and you don't come across that every day, is what the agricultural crimes unit said to reporters.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
I mean, when you go to buy nuts at the grocery store, like,
I will say,
you have to commit, right? Because they are not cheap.
pistachios specifically, they're expensive.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, like, it makes sense. So it just sounds like, yeah, he was supposed to, obviously truck this trailer of pistachios somewhere else. And he's just like, I'm going to just hide it in this lot. And then we're going to repackage it and sell it and make a buck. But.
Or 15,
Yeah. So that was quite the lucrative business decision of that person.
Wow.
But I feel like it was so not sneaky, just like literally driving the truck from one lot to another lot and then being like, okay, let's just like package these and sell them. And there's like surveillance cameras and everything. And everybody's like, we can see you.
And the nut company's like, our inventory of nuts are off.
Like, again, I don't want to
back up that footage.
I don't want to tell anybody how to commit crimes, even though I often accidentally do. But like, couldn't you just take a little bit? Like just a little bit off the top every time you truck for them? Like,
I mean, that's what they do in movies.
Do you really have that many people lined up that you need, what was it, 21 tons of pistachios?
21 tons.
I think you could have made out okay just by taking I don't know, even how about 50 pounds would have probably been a good start to this excursion. But they just went all in.
Just went for it, man. I guess kudos.
I mean, they really went there. It sure is. Yeah. They did the damn thing.
That's
and immediately got caught.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's my, I feel like my fifth bizarre article today, because I feel like my first article counts as like
3
at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy. So I'm all about the bizarre articles today.
Yeah. And I tell you, go look at the video of how to uninstall McAfee.
Yeah. There's another one for you.
Yeah. Just do it.
I love it.
But not around your kids.
Right. Or just, wear headphones.
Wear headphones. And I mean, the video probably not around
hide
your
the screen. Hide your screen. Hide your kids.
Amazing.
All right.
And we will be back with Diane Downs next time we record. Sorry, I just could not get it done this week because I sold my house this week.
Yeah, you did.
I had a lot of shit going on. Well, it's a pending sale. I don't want to jinx it. It is pending. Yes.
Wait.
It is pending.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, it's pending. All conditions will be met by the 12th of July, but
it's all good. But anyways, it's a pretty fair excuse to be very exciting.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. And I don't have to keep my house show ready anymore for at least for a while.
That must be a relief, especially in this heat, because, oh my God.
And with kids.
It's
like cleaning your house while you have kids, especially like show ready, is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't. You're not going to get anywhere.
No, it's not okay.
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
I love it.
So let us know what you guys think about the episode. And if you see a story we should cover, make sure to send it in. You can email us at murdermerlot@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at Murder Merlot Podcast and Facebook at Murder Merlot Podcast and Twitter at Murder Merlot 1.
You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and pretty much anywhere else you can find podcasts. We would love if you subscribed, and if you don't, you're dead to me.
And
Tara,
do you have something to tell us?
Maybe just one more thing. I chose a book.
What is it? Please tell me. I'm dying.
I haven't told Michelle what my next book is yet. My next book, our next case that we will be covering, is based off of Midnight in Chernobyl by Adam Higginbotham. Botham, I should say.
I just got goosebumps all the way down to my toes.
Oh, good.
Chernobyl freaks me out so bad.
I know. And I thought I knew about it before, and it turns out I knew nothing. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's wild, and it's so much science, which is intimidating, but also I think it'll be a really fun case to cover.
Yeah.
So get ready for that.
Away from the child killers, at least. So.
I know. Because the next book, like, I wanted to choose a book that I read a year ago, but it was about child killers as well, and I was like, we can't do that. Not beside Diane Downs. Nope. So I went far away from that.
Excellent.
I mean, so many people died. So many. But it's different. You know what I mean?
Have you watched the HBO special on Chernobyl?
No, because I've tried to get it on my TV and I cannot freaking sign up. It will not let me. And I'm very frustrated. Okay.
I have it. Come over and watch it.
Okay, perfect.
We'll figure out a way. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good.
Because
homework for everybody else as well.
I don't know that I want to watch it again.
That's what I've heard, is it's really good, but you can only watch it one time because it's just so much.
I can watch a lot of disturbing things, and it was one of those ones that I had to watch only one episode at a time, and I could feel like myself like getting panicky while watching it, and it's so well done. Nice. So well done.
Okay, we'll definitely do that. And homework to everybody else, go do that as well, because that sounds fun.
Yeah,
we can talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's a lot. That's exciting.
It's so much, but I'm looking forward to it. But hopefully you guys will join us as well. You can read the book too if you'd like. Again, it's Midnight in Chernobyl by Adam Higginbotham. And
sweet,
super fun.
I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. Well, remember to drink wine,
because it's not good to keep things bottled up.
Bye.